Okay.
This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
I need 3 of those things, baby. We ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. You like that? You like that? I like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
Ruckus and Menace, and Ruckus just sounded like a corny Bob Euchre, no matter just about a couple seconds ago.
Well, I was also just a bit outside earlier thinking about other things and just processing, but nonetheless, tonight we got Spenace with his A-Town story coming up here in a second. We'll get to that here in a wee bit. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And then we'll do our color commentary where we kind of do like a PTI segment. If you've ever seen Pardon the Interruption with Dubon and I can't remember the old guy's name. Please help me.
Michael Wilbon. Dubon? Were you seriously just thinking Mauricio Dubon, like as if it was a Houston Astro?
No, I was thinking of
Michael Wilbon. They're from my area of DC. They were sports.
I knew it was Dubon, but Michael Dubon, but I just couldn't remember the old man's name.
Wilbon. It's Michael Wilbon.
Okay, well, my bad. But yeah, anyways, we have that segment. And then we got a little something in the bingo card this episode, and then we'll have our primetime game, which we'll announce later in the episode, and then of course our stud and dud of the week. So Spenace, go ahead with your A-Town trip. I hope you got to say hi to Quavo. Please say it. Tell me you got to see Quavo.
It has been unfortunately, we were mostly on the northern end, but yeah, we weren't gonna get anywhere near where Quavo was.
Not with that attitude.
But nonetheless, it was definitely a nice vacation. And so Tuesday, Wednesday, we kind of started working our way down. Thursday morning, we end up in Atlanta. Thursday late morning, we're in Atlanta. And we start out with a noon tour of the World of Coca-Cola, where that is, if you really are a connoisseur of wanting to taste international sodas and learn more about the simple Coca-Cola stuff, it's a really good spot. Like, that is a really good spot.
Epcot also had something similar to that with I think they're already pretty much partnered with Coke, Disney World. Epcot had a area where you could like taste different popular sodas from like different countries from Coke. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, but we're talking like expanding like even further out. There was a Sprite from Romania that had a cucumber flavor. You had all sorts of areas of Africa, Asia, Europe. Like, it expanded out much further than Epcot usually does, because they mostly focus on, yeah, granted you get some of the Asian countries,
like the more
in Europe,
general
but they really
aspects.
don't yeah, it's more general. And then we went to the Georgia. Well, and then we went to the Georgia Aquarium, which we got to see the dolphin show while we were down there before checking into the hotel for the trip. But right nearby we found a Whataburger.
Yep. And if you don't know how to order at a Whataburger, you're going to have a hard time, because if you're like me and you're a picky eater, you don't realize until later that if you don't ask for it dry, then you're asking for trouble. What I mean by that is if you don't like mayo or any other extra sauce that you are used to on a burger, like yours truly, you're gonna have a bad time.
Comes standard. The mayo comes
Yes.
It's more so that the mayo comes standard.
That's why whenever I get a Whataburger order, it's the bun is toasted on both sides, so it's almost like a really darkened pancake, and it tastes amazing, and also dry with bacon. Yeah. That's it.
But I'll say this: it definitely was a thinner burger, but it still had very, very good. Like, it still had very good substance to it, even with it being even with it not really having the mayo. I think the mayo
almost like a Whopper
is something that probably holds it up a little bit more.
Is a patty almost like a Whopper, like in size?
But better version. I think a better version. I actually would prefer Whataburger over Burger King.
Me too. That's what I was trying to tell you too. It's like a upgraded Burger King. Like, yeah, like the hype for it might be a little bit extra, but dude, I've tried their brownies before, and don't even get me started on Whataburger right now. I have one literally like a block from me, and I'm just like, I could literally walk to it. I've actually walked to it at like 2 a.m., and people were just chilling, having a good time.
It is third. It is third on my list as far as the fast food burgers, behind like the fast ready to order, behind Wendy's and Five Guys.
I feel like Wendy's. Speaking of which, I'm mad that the Son of the Baconator $3 deal is gone. Like, I procrastinated so hard on that. I bought one and accidentally got a combo like an idiot, because they're like, "Oh, do you want a combo?" And I'm like, damn it, you reeled me in. Because they also had like some floats it was the God damn it, I'm gonna look like an idiot, but
like Frosty expansions.
Yeah, Frosty, yeah. I got a Frosty with some fries, and that's where I messed up. I paid $14 instead of $3. Count them, $3. But it was still good. I'm not complaining.
The fries and the Frosty to go along with it, so it was probably worth the. Like you said, you still ended up having it be good, so it was worth the.
The Frosty I could have gone without. I could have gone without the Frosty, but at the time it was hot, and I'm like, damn, ice cream sounds really good about now. I was like, all right. Yeah. Anyways.
The first major stop after those particular things was we ended up going out to the Braves game against the Mets at Truist Park. The seats, really good view.
Is it the first time you've been to Atlanta, by the way?
Yes, it was my first visit to Atlanta, yes.
I was going to ask if you've been to the Turner Park or whatever, because I'd never been, but I was curious. But anyways, go on, sorry.
I think my wife might have, but I did not get to go to Turner Field. But where I was going with that is, Truist Park. Yeah, the seats were definitely a little higher up, but I tell you what, for the price and the game that we got, it was definitely a steal. The first take is kind of right upon entry. I went to try and find the team store, and I saw a deal for a $59.50 on-field cap of the City Connect for the Atlanta Braves for $25.
Usually it's like at the park, it's like $50. Because like I bought my like the hat that you guys have seen before.
Half price.
What the time that the postseason hat that I had worn on the show a few times, the Royals one, where it's like kind of build up because I've been wearing it for 10 years. That one was $50, and that was like the day after they won or clinched for the division in 2015. Yeah. Let that sink in. 10 years ago, a cap, and is that fitted?
Yeah,
is
it's a 7
is that what
3/4.
is so a 59.50 for that would have been at least 50 if they really wanted to charge it, but that is not a bad deal. That's half off. That's literally half off.
Yeah, half off. Yeah, half off, and yeah. Oh, have you actually seen all of the stuff with the Brave City Connect and how like a lot of the classic nostalgia Hank Aaron 715? Oh yeah, I noticed that right away, and I'm like, yeah, this was definitely this was probably one of the best purchases that.
Okay, so how,
could have
as
made
far
throughout this entire
as
trip.
the stadium experience, was it a walk to get to where you had to sit, or was it or was it like super quick to get to places? Like, how easy was it to get to your seat? What was the experience like getting to your seat?
Say it wasn't bad. I will say the hike to get from the lot to the stadium, the hardest part about it for the time of day is that you had a little bit of heat and humidity because it had rained earlier in the day, but it was also a little bit uphill. It was easier going down the hill on the way back than it was going uphill, but that's kind of the nature of the beast of going up elevation and incline. But the path to the seats wasn't bad. Of course, the stadium, you have the escalator on the way up, and some people would take the escalator on the way back down. But the traffic on the ramps was never bad.
Sounds like it's
on the
universal
out-ramp
the way it
wasn't bad
works around MLB parks.
Yeah,
Because like Hoppen's not that bad either. If anything, it's the parking that's a bit odd. Like, I don't know. I think Turner Sports Complex in general over in Kansas City is a bit weird to get to, and that's part of why the Royals are trying to move. But anyways.
Oh yeah, but this game was actually, it was slow starting, but bottom of the first, Strider gets out of a jam. His slider was working more effectively in that game. The Mets scored in the first, or in the top of the second, and then the Braves tied it up in the fourth, and then took a lead in the fifth. And the first major tomahawk chop moment of the night came on the pitching change following the second walk, where Clay Holmes got pulled. An inning later, Matt Olson hits a bases clearing double, forcing the even bigger tomahawk chop, one that actually from the second chop clip, which Ruckus should be showing right about now. You could actually see the Brave tomahawk in right field. Like it would do like this, and it would work back and forth. The light would display to kind of even show the demonstration of it. But even the Braves with the tomahawk chop, it may not be as crazy as some. But realize that the other places that are doing it are football stadiums.
I feel like there's only one stadium, though, that does the tomahawk chop. And yes, sometimes the fans follow to the...
And that Arrowhead, no. The college. You have college football and you have the NFL. They're both football.
Who does it better, the Seminoles or the Braves, or really anybody else?
I will say the Seminoles. I will say probably, if you really wanted to have the true thing, I would probably say the Seminoles are the ones that. The Seminoles were the ones that brought it in, so I think Florida State is obviously going to be the best there is. But I will say, as far as baseball and the tradition of it, the Braves do have at least something incredibly solid. They do have something solid there. It is used very much in moderation, but it's not a terrible thing.
Yep. All right.
I'm not throwing shade to your, and I'm not throwing shade to your Chiefs about it. It's
I was just waiting for the next part of your story.
Yeah. But the Braves ultimately won that game 7-1, and the stud of the game goes to Matt Olson, who went 2 for 3 with 2 doubles and drove in 3. We got to the hotel. Next morning, we go out for breakfast, and then we go to the College Football Hall of Fame. Thus, by this lanyard right here. And this was
Wait,
before
is that your combine? Is that your combine tag?
It's the all access pass from the College Football Hall of Fame.
So, future college football prospect / NFL combine guy over here, Spenace over here, my guy with the Atlanta Braves hat representing. Maybe, you never know. He could get drafted or an NIL deal.
But here's a hack for you, Ruckus. I don't know how many Chick-fil-A's you have there in like that Kansas City, Missouri area.
All over the goddamn place.
But if you're a red or a signature member on the Chick-fil-A app, you're down in the Atlanta area and you go to the College Football Hall of Fame, 2 free tickets. Red or signature. All you have to do is scan your app there. And then for the all access path, which gets you to do some of the immersive stuff that's involved with it, is only $5
per person.
So per person. You get 2 free tickets.
Not bad.
But it's $5 a person for the all access pass to go along with that, to go along with the scan.
Nice.
That like a $25 hat, a $5 purchase on the extra piece of the College Football Hall of Fame. I have no complaints about that. And and I'm pretty sure you saw the non-traditional clip of the Tech University, and now that kicking ain't easy. Well, I've known that kicking ain't easy. I tried to do the field goal instead of doing 2 passes. I got up far enough. I got Norwood and went wide right. I missed wide right. But the throw was on the money. Though. Pretty much dropped the dime right in, and then also in my clip, it's like, yeah, it wasn't fast, but I wasn't expecting it to be fast because I was more concerned about making the grab at the end.
Yeah.
And then I had the 3, well, half day, full day, and another half day at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo. And of course, that first night I actually played that I sent Ruckus it in the DMs in our DMs, but that Jacktastic pinball machine.
I wish I could play pinball right now. Like, the only thing that's stopping me is money, but also just maintenance, because those mechanical switches will fail over time, and you just gotta have to have the know-how or have the money to be able to pay the guy that repairs it.
Oh yeah, and then you have custom. There were people there that had custom cabinets. I think that Stack one was a custom. That Stack one was definitely a custom. They had a Street Fighter 2 one right next to it. Somebody had one that had a Spaceball scene.
A buddy of
Somebody
mine
has
went to
Spaceballs themed one?
Japan, or lives in Japan, and he saw a John Wick one and sent it to me, and I was like, hell yeah, John Wick, baby.
John Wick does have one. I do remember seeing that down there. I got to play the Dungeons and Dragons one. I got to play the new Dungeons and Dragons one. I got to play the new King Kong one. I got to play a new Harry Potter one. Oh, there are a lot of Harry Potter ones, and that one was the most popular one there on the night. Or there actually for the entire weekend. Like, you had lines queued up for, people, like, you'd have people waiting in line, like, waiting in lines as you were playing, like, as you're playing, it's like, oh, you hop off and someone else hops on for a Harry Potter game.
Man, if you ever
That one was a
visit
popular one.
if you ever visit Kansas City, you should see my dad's pinball cabinet. He's got like one that's all digital, but he has a bunch of tables on it, and it's like this whole experience. I can send you photos of it, but man, it is very cool. But also at the same time, it's awesome to experience a mechanical based pinball table. Like, I remember back when I was younger, I'd play them a lot, and they still have them at Up Down KC, but like, man, like, being able to see the King Kong one is lucky. I think the last one I played was Indiana Jones or some type of like ACDC.
I played the King Kong. Yeah, I played the King Kong one, and that one was pretty nice. I think the Harry Potter one was probably the best one that I think I could play. But from there, I also got to. Yeah, I think it was some fun moments from it. Saturday, I was at something called Fandom Face Off, where it was a majority rules type game. And here's a good question for you. Well, let me know where you would think on this. Which of these two would most likely win trivia on complete accident?
You.
Star or C-3PO?
Oh, I think if it had to be anybody intelligent, I would say C-3PO. Because he would at least have an intelligent answer, whereas Patrick would be like, mayonnaise. And then they'd be like, and he'd be like, darn.
Patrick Star, because there's so many instances where Patrick has something go incredibly well just clearly by accident.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't remember the SpongeBob episode where they had the snail where SpongeBob and Squidward were squabbling each other with a snail race, and Patrick wins with a rock.
All right, Rocky, keep going. Patrick, that's a rock. That ain't a boulder. Now I'm thinking of that ain't a boulder, it's a rock. It's a boulder. But yeah, I remember Gary, we're trying to win the race. I remember that meme back in 2016 whenever it was the presidential race, and I was cracking up just saying, Gary, you're supposed to win the race. What the hell, man? Also another voice crack. That's 2 voice cracks this episode. You're welcome. I can also play the squeaky teen from The Simpsons. You wanna Dr. Pepper with that? And French fry. Oh God. Yeah, there you go. That's your little snippet. You're welcome.
Oh, and then later on that evening, I ended up getting to experience another podcast. It was another podcast. Shout out to the guys from Debate This, because they were hilarious.
Shout us out. Also, please subscribe.
Yeah, but these guys had they had their little like debate over which modern video game would make the best arcade cabinet. Somebody went with an Animal Crossing like Airbnb style. Another one of the guys went with WarioWare, and the other went Gears of War.
Gears of War and WarioWare, the Animal Crossing one sounds really dumb, but I guess if you can do enough with it to like actually make it worth it, sure. But I think
these
have you? Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
these guys
Lane.
actually go through like a full blown like that. Like when they actually like propose the idea, they commit to the bit. They commit to their bit and do it. Like it was one of the like I'm cracking up type ordeals. And then my wife and I decided to do a live the live D&D improv where they where the players play the game, but yet the audience will have different cards and kind of like different say on how the game's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forced a boss crab to drop the bard with a natural 1.
Nice.
Crab rolls natural 20, or Dungeon DM rolls natural 20 for the crab. Turns natural 20 into natural 1.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But whenever you do,
It really was a fun experience.
if you ever do want to experience that digital cabinet, I think my favorite was Doom and or Family Guy that my dad had on his, and he did Pinball FX for his. I don't know if you've ever played that on your Xbox or PlayStation or whatnot, like the demos or whatnot for Pinball FX, but they're pretty cool. I remember playing, I think it was a Sony product that they made for pinball. I can't remember what it is. I don't know if it was FX or if it was like some other pinball aspect, but my dad's a big pinball fan. That's why I recommended or told you about it. Anyways, let's keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've messed around with digital. I've messed around with some digital ones in Roanoke, but other than that, we wrapped up the trip Atlanta-wise to I don't know how you are with your Food Network guys or like famous celebrity chefs.
I know Guy Fieri, and that's about it.
Yeah, one of the notable judges, and I think we also did Iron Chef on Netflix, was Marcus Samuelsson.
I'm looking him up right now.
Yeah, we went to...
Okay, yeah, because like I was thinking when you said Marcus, I was thinking of the guy with the glasses, like the very geeky glasses that would judge on like Hell's Kitchen or whatever for Gordon Ramsay.
No, this is the guy with the this is the guy that's got I think he does the fedoras, the fancy colors, and
so Timu Gusfring
really talks
like a Timu Giancarlo Esposito.
Say almost like if Giancarlo Esposito was a celebrity chef.
Yeah, he's just Gus Fring. He's just the manager of Los Pollos Hermanos.
But the food there at Marcus Bar and Grill was so good. Like we did the Sunday Supper Club, which was pretty much about $49 a head for us, but you get served everything family style, the cornbread, ribs, it's full chicken wings, brisket, and the main closer we got was this peach cobbler that, oh man, the first bite I took of it, I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm more of like a chocolate sweets kind of guy. So like strawberry shortcake. I mainly go for the strawberries, but like cheesecake, like you get like a chocolate cheesecake. That's heaven right there.
No, but you're talking like a peach cobbler in Georgia, and
that is their fruit.
Georgia is the peach state, so it
makes
perfect sense.
If you've heard a intro for Made in Georgia or Produced in Georgia, it's like do, and it has the peach.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Anyways.
Yeah, I got where you were going with it. But now we've kind of gotten through the major piece of my journey. And I'm sure Ruckus probably still had a little bit, but I know you've got Florida within the next month and a half or so.
Yeah, I'm going in September.
Right in the middle of football preview.
which is fine.
You're going.
I'm going to.
But
So I'm going to not so scary Halloween in September for Disney with my family, and it'll be a lot of fun. I was going to go as Miss Nesbit because it's like the alter ego of Buzz Lightyear, and just like act like not sober the whole time. Just feel like I'm Miss Nesbit. Yeah, because like that's like the whole role. I'm a goofy uncle. Yeah. Ruckus is an uncle. You're confirmed. Anyways, but yeah. Are we ready for this glorious segment?
Yep. Let's get right to it. We are to the Eastwood segment of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Y'all know what it is. What's good in sports this week? I will start it off. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder win the first NBA Finals championship in franchise history for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the crazy part that I could also say is good about this is there wasn't any crazy pandemonium going on when it came to celebration. It was pretty, like, calmed down, you could say.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it went down to the wire.
Well, yeah, it was
Game 7.
It was a solid series, yeah. And these two teams really wanted it. I mean, it was to the point that even Halliburton, like, he went until the wheels fell off.
Yep, and also, not only that, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made sure that he was okay and showed real sportsmanship. You don't see that very often in any really pro sport when it comes to professionalism. And you know it's bad when they have to point that out, even with the people that are the most hated. Like when Tom Brady met Patrick Mahomes after the AFC Championship loss for the Chiefs. Tom Brady came over to Patrick and said, "Hey, you're doing the right thing, just keep it up." You see the same thing with Giancarlo Stanton coming over to Bobby Witt Jr. after the Royals lost in the ALDS against the Yankees. You see it really just pretty much anywhere, but it's very rare when it comes to just like the cockiness and the competitive nature of certain individuals, especially in the NBA though.
Because it's like, yeah, you have competitive swag. You have competitive swagger that kind of goes hand in hand. But yet, when you have game recognizing game, and absolutely people really showing that sportsmanship for those that are kind of right there at that high level of class that you were like, yeah, that was
like Mahomes.
That was one of those really good ones. Yeah, you have that, like, those rapports make it absolutely really good.
For sure. Like, even when Mahomes, like, will, like, dunk on somebody as far as, like, just the team sake, he'll be like, "Hey, man, you're doing the right thing." Like, he'll, like, buddy up with the dude and, like, have a heart-to-heart. Like, it's definitely a mental game, but also very hard to get recognition where recognition is due. And sometimes things don't go your way, and sometimes they do. But, like, for the most part, you want what's best for that other person, too. You don't want to just be like, "Oh, you suck. Yeah, I beat you. You see that? I beat you." It was like, "Hey, man, you're good, too. What a game." It's kind of how you're raised into it, too. Because, like, for me, with baseball, after we played the game, no matter how it was won or lost, we said good game to each other. We shook hands.
Oh, yeah. When I was playing softball last summer, it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, you go down the line, say a good game, and it's like, oh, you're, like, a lot of time, especially for a lot of those players who knew me, it's like, oh, you're, like, it's like that, like, normally it's like, oh, you're so used to that, like, just the hand pound across. No, it's like, yeah, actually some of the dap up, like as if you would be, like, separated away.
Yeah,
like,
the funny thing is,
the line, but it's like, man,
I always make this joke whenever I do the good game. I'll like pretend like I'm doing the good game from the other team, and I'll say imposter, 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 because I am the person that is also on their team. So I'm just like, hello, hello, hello. All right, what is bad in sports, or do we
But
still want to
then-
talk about the good?
What with the bad here? And that is the unfortunate situation of Damian Lillard being waived by the Bucks shortly after they get Miles Turner. And this is all much to the chagrin of the Greek Freak. And Giannis was unhappy about the waiving of Lillard.
Well, Lillard didn't even deliver when it mattered most. He was mostly injured, and that showed as he tore his leg up or Achilles. I think it was either Achilles or ACL. I think it was
a
it was in
believe
May,
it's an-
so it was a while.
they waived Lillard. Yeah, it was an Achilles.
Yep. So like that is a detriment to his game, but he was supposed to be kind of like he was supposed to bring what he did in Portland with the Trailblazers to the Bucks, and he really never delivered, even when he was healthy. So like it almost felt like a Russell Westbrook type player where you could play if you're like the main person, you could pretty much just like outmaneuver everyone else and make the team better because of it. Because when Russell Westbrook was with the Thunder after Kevin Durant and James Harden got traded or left or whatnot, like Russell Westbrook pretty much carried his team, and if he was hurt, he obviously didn't. And I feel like the same went for Lillard when he was with the Trailblazers. Like, yeah, he had a supporting cast like CJ McCollum and one other guy. I think it was, I don't remember who it was. I just remember McCollum and him, and they were trying to make the Trailblazers a NBA playoff team, but they just really couldn't pull it off.
Yeah,
and he obviously didn't pull it off with the Bucks. It was more of like a throw it to the wind kind of situation. Like, let's just see what happens with this. And obviously, they messed around.
Say this: if you look at the stat, if you look at the averages, look at the season averages. Do we really? If you were to kind of say this, if you were to think of Damian Lillard's career, his 2 seasons in Milwaukee, he was averaging 24.3 and 24.9 respectively scoring, at about 4.4 and 4.7 boards, and 7 assists. It was so much game on the floor. When he was on the floor, he was still producing the clip that the Bucks needed. The major injury plus his age, I think, were the ultimate reasons why I think Milwaukee let him go. That's the biggest reason. The big injury to the Achilles, and
I think they said it wouldn't even be until like next summer would be when he would be fully healed, if that.
I mean, there's been a rising number of Achilles injuries, and Lillard was one of the earlier dominoes to fall. Granted that you just had Halliburton, you just had Jason Tatum. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it may not look good for Dan, but this could be a sign that even with this Achilles, unless he comes back just as strong, if not stronger than he was, I wouldn't be surprised if he just said, hey, I'm willing to hang it up on this note. I mean, granted, I didn't win a title, but I'm willing to hang it up on that note.
All right, what was ugly?
The ugly just gets uglier. Fans harassing MLB players that are in ways that are way out of pocket. Vital Marte got a comment from a 22-year-old fan about his dead mother. But then also, the wife of Red Sox pitcher Garrett Whitlock, pretty much on social media, has an open letter about some of the harassing DMs that her husband receives as a pitcher of the Red Sox. I mean, Boston sports media is one thing, but yeah, some of these things that are really said to these players, even whether you're on the field trying to do that, or you're trying to be a keyboard warrior in the DMs over sport, especially over sports gambling, is quite another. It's not like Trev Scherf. Trev Scherf will heckle players, but they are heckling But Trev Scherf heckles players in a way to try and get them to laugh, like just a brief little concentration break and just something fun. And it's more also for the laughs of the fans too. Just like it's not in mean spirit at all. Like if you're just heckling a player just to kind of get like a little like funny reaction. It's complete. Like there are things with that I say this is totally imbalanced. Like there is a fine line between like just playful, like being playful about it, and just something funny. And there's quite another when you start bringing up personal stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's normally when you bring it up something about that. Mr. Ruckus.
My the honorable mention for the ugly this week is ICE trying to search the Dodgers parking lot during the times where the LA riots were happening, and that's bad because you don't know, like, or the support for Dodger fans getting searched would be bad, but good guy Dodgers decided, hey, get away from here. Like, get away, ICE. Like, shoe fly, don't bother me. To the Dodger, to keep the Dodger fans safe.
What was, on the other hand, it looked like it's saying that the team had just made a statement that ICE agents they asked for permission, and the Dodgers just said, no thanks. No, you can't use here.
Can I have something to eat? No.
Yeah. It even says that the agents were never there. Like, they were never there. So it's like, yeah, there were Customs and Border Patrol agents present, briefly, but they weren't related to any operation or enforcement. So, yeah, the whole immigration stuff and all the other, like, riots that have been going on in California are nuts. But yeah, that situation, especially with everything, all the other contextual pieces surrounding it, is why this is ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much the concept of it was requesting and the Dodgers just said, no, if you're going to do things, you can't do it here.
Right.
It's everything else that was surrounding the issue.
Yep. All right, let's get to our PTI segment here.
Moving on to the color commentary, we are going with what's the word? So these questions here that I have are fill in the blank, and we can fill them in with usually the first word that kind of comes to mind that we would think of for it. But sometimes this gets stretched a little bit.
Yep.
Yep, because sometimes they go 2 words, sometimes they go 3 words. But the thoughts here. The Steelers' moves over the last couple of weeks in the offseason have been blank.
Explosive.
All right. Continue.
Signing Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year, $12 million deal sounds like this is like a F around and find out moment for the Steelers, because they also traded for Jalen Ramsey, and in return they gave back the original pick that was used by the Dolphins for Mika Fitzpatrick. And then they go and get Johnny Smith as well. But, like, I think it's explosive in a mix of, like, I think of it as, like, a yin-yang. Yeah, she could go after it as, oh, this is, like, the weirdest, bizarrest transaction that the Steelers have done in the past few weeks. But at the same time, you can look at it as, oh, they got Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith was, like, the best tight end for the Dolphins, even when they didn't have Tua or whoever at the helm. Like, you still have to have a quarterback at the end of the day, and they have Rodgers, but it's just a question mark of what do you expect out of Aaron Rodgers that he hasn't given since his last year at Green Bay, where his team lost their probably 3rd or 4th consecutive playoff game, and it was either the division title or the championship for the NFC, for the NFC. Like, how? Because explosive could mean many things, like I just said. And that's why I think my one word would be explosive, because you don't know if that's good or bad until it happens. And I'm just I'm not gonna hold my breath on them. I'm just gonna kind of let it happen and just observe from the side. But I'm not gonna let it just sleep.
I'm going to say that the Steelers' moves over the last couple of weeks, I'm even going to say the last couple of months at this point, have been head-scratching. You bring in DK Metcalf just to let go of George Pickens. You bring in Jalen Ramsey, who is an older corner, just to get rid of Minka Fitzpatrick. You've got TJ Watt kind of in limbo right now with this contract. You bring in Johnny Smith along with this in this deal. But you Freiermuth and Darnell Washington as your tight end. Johnny Smith is going to be the better catcher of the 3. Of course, the real head scratcher of the bunch, though granted this was a move that probably very well has been the worst kept secret in the NFL, has been the Aaron Rodgers move. No moves in Pittsburgh right now are making sense. Are we, like, am I missing something that's probably contextual in this whole thing? Maybe.
I don't know if
really put me in perspective, I don't. I don't get it because there's too many weird pieces. Rodgers is in his 40s. He is yet like Tom Brady, yes, could throw the ball well in his 40s. But Tom Brady has spent such a good amount of his career protected incredibly well. Aaron Rodgers in his 40s has had nowhere near the same protection. And he probably is going to be running around the pocket like a fossilized dino trying to even throw a completed pass. Trying to even throw a completed pass at the risk of not tearing his Achilles again.
We'll see. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's make this quicker. Shohei Ohtani
Throwing a 102-mile-an-hour fastball in one of his first starts back on the pitcher's mound is...
what has he not done? All right, let's move on.
I'm going with... say is not necessary, like unnecessary. Because I mean, he's already showing that he's one of the best hitters in baseball. He can throw the ball well, but are you really going to be wanting Shohei Ohtani to be your starter? It's like the less innings you have on him, the better. So you may want to just more so have him in middle relief.
I think in the past, he there were stats shown on Fox's Sports Network talking about how he even surpassed Babe Ruth or was like the next Babe Ruth when it came to being an excellent pitcher, but also being an excellent batter as well. So that's why I say like him pitching under 2 mile an hour fastball, I don't care at the end of the day. It's whatever. It's like if Patrick Mahomes won another little award, like the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award. Like, okay, whatever. All right, moving on. All right, so the
Rockets are blank after adding Kevin Durant.
I don't have an opinion because I don't really give a shit. He's old as bones, and if he can make an impact and help the team win, sure. But right now, I'm just kind of like, I don't care. It's kind of like when it was Chris Paul, James Harden, and Clint Capella, I think, were all on the same team, and people were like, oh, these guys, you should worry about them, and it's like, actually, you don't. Like, you just don't need to care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm going to say that the Houston Rockets are... are interesting. Like, it's a very interesting construction. If you really look at the roster at this point, they're going to have Clint Capella back. They have Steven Adams. They pick up Dorian Finney-Smith as well, who's yet another younger forward than Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant will turn... I think he'll turn 37 by the time the season starts, or... Yeah, he'll turn 37 by the time the season starts, so he's definitely older. Then, of course, you have Reed Shepherd, who can learn. I think there's a lot of learning opportunity. Granted that they got rid of Jalen Green. So they took away something of, like, high value for it. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see what Houston can do with it. Not so much what Kevin Durant can do there. When healthy, of course.
Yeah.
But it's more so what they are able to do. I think it's more so what the other non-KDs are going to do around Kevin Durant to develop this further.
Yep. All right.
Like, there's interesting.
Let's go faster.
I'll let you read the next one here.
NCAA adding more teams to the March Madness tournament is blank. I think that is good. It makes March Madness more competitive and less closed off. Like, yeah, they probably had their reasons for certain teams not making it, but god damn it. It's really the only thing that's actually being shown or as a showcase for college basketball. Yes, you have like the other less known ones like the NIT or other ones where the other teams didn't get it, but you don't really hear about that shit until later. So I feel like if the NCAA wants to get more money and or NIL deals showcased and or like other like money waves going, get some more teams going, show more love, because at the end of the day, those teams that were not as known until recent in the March Madness, they get recognition, they could get a little bit of publicity, and it could boost those economies down the line. That's where I go for that.
I'm going to say the words necessary. Yes.
Bad, Spenace.
We'll say
bad.
What here? It's not necessary. It's not needed. We already have enough with all of this going on. More of these teams in. What? You have 68 right now, and there are people even saying that's even a few teams too many. You've got, granted, yes, you can avoid having governors like Patrick Morrissey complaining about how, WVU didn't make it in. But at the same time,
it's natural selection at the end of the day, though, but I feel like it'd bring viewership up a little bit for like the
majors. That may give more eyes for these bigger schools to eventually steal them. There's some of that may be possible, but at the same time, this is stuff that schools are doing anyway. Regardless of how many teams there are in the tournament, the tournament goes from the middle to practically the first to second week of April. If we expand more, where are they going to expand it? Are they gonna push conference tournaments up, or are they gonna push the season back into the middle of April, where you're already where that Final Four is already going to be getting into that little competition field with the beginning of the NBA playoffs and the beginning of the NHL playoffs. Like, there's no real wiggle room. There's no wiggle room here.
Well, I was thinking it was almost like a battle royale scenario where like you had more teams in like that like trying to get in segment, and you just kind of go based off of that and just do one game for those teams that just barely made it or could have made it, and just have them battle it out, and then just like give them a set time and place and they just do it, and it doesn't really affect time. It's just like, okay, you got what it takes, okay, come together, like let's do this. Like, give it a good energy at least, because I feel like the ones that are
on the front end, okay, but
that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say like, oh, we need more players or we need more teams because it's boring or they're gating away from people that could have gotten it. I just feel like it'd be more fun just to see like the little teams have a better chance. It's kind of like why the wild card was invented for the MLB. It was like, okay, there's some teams out there that are smaller market, like. Not to say that it matters with the money. It's just more so just like it'd be kind of cool to just see like a different team win it or like other more madness happening because it's March Madness. It's not just like like Gonzaga gets it every year.
Many of those smaller schools.
UConn has literally had like almost a three-peat.
Pretty much at this point.
How many times can you get a three-peat going as a college versus a pro level?
I mean, women's it's easier because
we're not talking about women. We're talking
are going to be going with the men's been practically impossible.
Right.
You're not.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It's hard enough to get two. It's hard to get two.
Because UConn had some good talent, but it took luck, but also just like their coach actually like prevail with it. But that's really rare compared to like the pros, where you could just like, okay, we could stack this up by how much this person gets per year, and then how much this person gets per year, like stuff like that. Whereas in college, it's very hard to do that because it's kind of looked down upon for so long. And why would you?
Point now where college is going to become easier to do. Point. Where I'm going with this here is that the reason why you don't have it is because more of those first four teams that are going to kind of be in that bubble where that's going to expand, they're all going to be pretty much right there as far as that playing round. Games more so toward the middle seeds, so that those 7-10s are going to get it instead of like you're playing for a 10 seed or you're playing for an 11 seed. You've already got two teams that are playing for a 16 seed, and you've already got two teams playing for a 12, usually a 12.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going to put that? Where are we going to put that? The 10 seed? There's really no logistical place to have it make sense to be able to expand the field. And I'm talking logistics, not more teams into the field makes it, it does add more care.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds more opportunity for other schools. But consider what you're subtracting. Consider count the cost before making the decision to add. Yeah, I'm gonna skip this next one here. The other one here, Cooper Flagg will blank as a rookie for the Dallas Maverick.
I think he'll probably play less of a role, but I think it'll probably be like the equivalent for Christian Braun going from the Jayhawks, winning a championship March Madness title with the Jayhawks, where he kind of played like a bench role. I think it just depends on how the health goes for the players, but for sure, like if you want to put Cooper Flagg in as a starter, at least make it to where it's logical, but also the talent shows. Because, you could be logical and be like, oh, well, your best player or your best rookie player should be starting. That's like, well, make sure it makes sense at the end of the day, too. So, I don't know how to say that in one word. Probably just will produce. Do a thing.
I'm gonna throw the word thrive. Let's say Cooper Flagg will thrive. And here's where I'm going with this. You've already got Kyrie Irving, D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson.
One of those guys is out for a little bit. Kyrie Irving. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll have. But you've got D'Angelo Russell to cover that. But at the same time, whenever Kyrie's back, you've got a 1-2. You got a 1-2 there with Klay Thompson and Cooper Flagg. And then you have Anthony Davis down low. So Cooper Flagg has, I'm going to say, he has room to find success. There is room for Cooper Flagg to succeed. He'll probably bulk up a little bit from his 6'9", 205 frame. But I think Cooper Flagg, as far as a playmaker and being able to do things on both sides of the ball, I think the cradle with the draft lottery in getting him. Because I don't think Cooper Flagg has as much room to potentially also see a postseason his rookie season. Should all go well.
Yeah. All right.
And then the WNBA expanding to Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia by 2030 is a blank plan.
Good. I think there should be more WNBA teams because I feel like for the longest time it's mainly been focused in Los Angeles or other more just proven areas like Phoenix or Seattle, which is kind of a hit or miss whether you think of Seattle as the Supersonics or something else, but I don't know. I think it's just a good idea. Let's just put it at that. Good for the WNBA.
Reasonable.
It also means more
Just
money
give me-
because it'll be accumulated more outside of just what their network is. So that's
Yeah.
definitely good.
So what it is that you have currently, and two of those teams are going to be in the East. So I think that is going to be, I think it'll probably be Philly and Cleveland going to the East. Or you move Chicago over and put Detroit in the East.
I'm not really worried
yeah,
about
for
that,
those-
but the whole concept of it is good. It's a very excellent plan.
It's a very healthy plan. You got Dallas, you got Golden State, Vegas, LA, Minnesota, Phoenix, Seattle, DC, New York, Indianapolis, Connecticut, which is a unique place. But that's pretty much going to be the quote unquote Boston team, the New
Yeah.
England team. Chicago and Atlanta. I think Philly getting a team, but guys, that also when you consider the roots of where the WNBA was when they began, Cleveland was a part of it. I think Philly might have been somewhere in there early on. And Detroit used to have a WNBA team as well. Almost wouldn't have been I would not have been surprised if the WNBA instead of going to Philly, they would have went to Houston. Huh?
I mean,
Like it is a very sensible plan.
all right. What was not on your bingo card this week, Spenace? Or really this month? Because we've had one video this month.
He's in rock bottom, which we mentioned last episode. But the Buck family never would have thought they would have ever sold the Los Angeles Lakers.
Until recently.
Until recently, when they sold them for $10 billion. This is the first $10 billion professional sport organization in the United States to be sold. The Commanders sold for $6, the Boston Celtics sold for $6, and the Lakers get sold for $10 billion. And
$10 billion. Like Dr.
Well,
Evil.
Yeah. Thinking, oh, maybe the Lakers probably get sold. If there was possibility of them being sold, I thought maybe about 7, 8. But to have it go up that high, that was bonkers enough to stay. That wasn't on my bingo card. But then the Bus family even selling it was also not on my bingo card.
Yep. Alright, so let's do a TLDR what our primetime game is going to be. So I will start it. So Spenace will correct me on whatever I get wrong. So what we're doing is we're going to do a head-to-head. It's going to be me and Spenace, and it'll be the show, and Diamond Dynasty. Oh, let me speak.
Yep.
Alright, so Diamond Dynasty head-to-head. We're going to do a challenge where it's called... let's see. I'm trying to look at the theme. That's why I'm like screwing up here.
Your thing's on the wrong slide, my guy.
Oh yeah, that definitely helps. It's called Choice Band. Wait, no, it's not. It's called. It's The player has to contain the last name, so it's what's in a name. Your squad may only contain players whose last name starts with a letter in your name. So Ruckus, it's Rucks, and for Spenace, it's Spenac.
Yep.
No, yeah, Speac.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spenanced. Yes.
So pretty much he cheated a little bit because he has more letters than me, but that's okay. Or maybe we had the same. I'm just kidding at the end of the day, but and
one more. The only difference I will have is that I have one more letter available to me. That is the only advantage I get.
Peter.
Is that I have I'll tell you. But I will tell you that out of all of the letters that I had available to me, I also used one less letter. Because I will tell you that my lineup, I actually did use all 6 letters.
Color, yes or no, my guy.
Only one of my players has a last name of E.
Well, there you go.
For my roster. Yeah. The rest of them are all centered around, mostly around the letters. Like, I'll even be transparent about it. This is a very common letter. And there was a good amount of players that also had the letter C.
Yep, and we managed to complicate the shit out of it, but at least the TLDR is, hey, this is what's happening. Also, this episode has been kind of long, so that's why I wanted to shorten it a little bit.
Well, we've been away for a month, so we kind of had a lot of stuff to kind of go along with. So that's why this episode was also a little longer.
Okay. I'll start it off with the sudden dud. My dud for this week, or really just this month in general, is the Kansas City Royals record when it comes to winning home games this month of June, which was 6 home games. 6! There were 3-game series in the past couple of weeks. So with that puts that in perspective, we've only won 6 games of them. Altogether, we've won 8 of 16. Not good. Yeah, we beat San Diego a couple of times, but still, not good. Like, our offense just hasn't been there. Our pitching has been and it's always been kind of but like our offense needs to show up or we're not going to be in contention. But our stud, which is part of the reason why I'm saying our offense is bad, Chris Bubich is the 6th in the MLB in ERA, according to a post before the Sunday game against the Dodgers, where he had a 20 or 30 pitch second inning, I believe. He was pretty beat up by then, but yeah. Anyways, that's my sudden dud for the week. Spenace, take it on down.
For the record on your Royals, your division has been so dominated by the Detroit Tigers that...
Oh, don't give me the pity. Don't give me pity. Don't give me pity. I'm taking the L. That's why I took the dud, my guy. You don't need to give me pity.
At the same time, the Tigers have just been applying a little bit of salt to the wound to make it hurt.
Dude, there's a reason why the domestic tall boys at Kauffman Stadium are cheaper. It's because we're trying to drown our sorrows over here, okay? Like, yeah. Patrick Ochoaro's making some weird choices. Our whole like system is weird. Like, we haven't brought back MJ Melendez in a while, and I kind of wish she was back. But other than that, it's been mixed. Like, I got to see Jack in person against the A's, and I was disappointed because like our offense has been dog shit for like the whole month. It's not even funny. That's why I made it the dud. But anyways, Spenace, go for it, my guy. I'm done ranting for the episode.
Look on the bright side. At least you're not the New York Mets.
At least I'm not the Baltimore Orioles either. Sorry, I said to throw a little shade. Because it's true.
You're not throwing direct shade. You're not throwing direct at me. I know Boston hasn't been playing that great either.
Boston's doing better than the Orioles, at least. At least they're young talent, at least I should say.
I said this week is Cardinals pitcher Sonny Gray for pitching a Maddox. Basically, a shutout complete game in 89 pitches against the Cleveland Guardians. And yes, you know exactly why this is called a Maddox. Because he did it because Greg Maddux was known for throwing complete games in less than 100 pitches. So this is why they called it a Maddox. But my dud goes to the Tampa Bay Rays for completely blowing the assignment. They had a 6-0 lead in the top of the second inning against the Baltimore Orioles on Friday night. They lose the game 22. They only scored 2 more runs the whole game. And Baltimore then, throughout the rest of the game, from the bottom of the second inning on, put a 20-piece on them. That for the Rays should be embarrassing. And this will do it for episode number 147 of the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I am Spenace the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus. And I did not catch timing on that, but that's okay. We'll see you guys in episode number 148 sometime in the near future when we feel like it. Anyways, good night.
Deuces.